Hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Market Snapshot series. My name is Rufus Kamau, Market Analyst at FXPesa. So today we'll be talking about the top market events that are currently moving the prices today, with a key focus on the current rally in the SP500, in the Nasdaq, as well as the Dow Jones indices. So before we start, I would like to begin with a disclaimer that this session is not investment advice. It's not a recommendation to trade. So you should always do your own research and, of course, practice proper risk management. So good morning, Robert Kvale. Good morning, Rono. Thank you guys for joining. So as usual, when you see me in the orange t-shirt, you know what it is about. So today we are celebrating Bitcoin hitting $100,000. So it's quite a rally. It's something we talked about. So on the calendar, we'll be looking at the top events today. The calendar is a little bit thin today. Don't have much compared to yesterday or tomorrow. So early this morning, we had good trade balance from Australia coming in better than expected at 5.95 billion Australian dollars. Then we had the unemployment rate from Switzerland coming in at 2.6%, better than the forecast of 2.7%. German factory orders dropped more than expected to negative 1.5%. Of course, we expected to negative 2%, but it's still quite a big drop from the previous increase of 4.2%. So French industrial production is yet to be updated on my calendar. So here we are looking at 0.1% drop in industrial production. In the previous month, there was also a drop of negative 0.8%. So still worse than expected. And for the rest of the day, there will be a focus on retail sales from the Eurozone at 1 p.m. Today is the OPEC day. I know you have all been anticipating the OPEC day to see whether they will be implementing more oil output. And we'll be looking closely to see updates from the same. And lastly, towards the afternoon, we'll be getting the US unemployment claims, trade balance, as well as Canadian trade balance at 4:30 p.m. So the expectation for the unemployment claims, of course, if we see the number increasing, that could affect the Fed decision on the third week of December. So it's a very important track that we'll be focusing on. So overall, the trend has been a drop over the past couple of weeks. So if you do a line here, you'll notice that we have been seeing a drop in unemployment claims. And this basically means that the job market is improving. And if the job market is improving, then the Fed may not be in a hurry to go for rate cuts. So as of this morning, if you look at the CME Fed Watch tool, there's still a 73.8% probability that the Fed will be cutting rates by 25 basis points on its next meeting on the 18th of December. So the dollar currently is pretty strong. And of course, we're also seeing a very strong rally in the Nasdaq. So among other highlights for the markets today, I'll be trying to go through some of them. So one of them is Bitcoin hits $100,000 milestone level as a Trump-fueled rally reaches new heights. So that's the current big news in the markets today. So outside of that, we have other news. Of course, we had mixed earnings from Salesforce, but very strong performance from the stock. So it's something we have been focusing on since the week started. So Salesforce, or CRM, remains a battleground stock for Wall Street after a quarter that could be viewed as wildly positive or wildly mixed. So shares of Salesforce surged 11% yesterday as execs came out bullish on the early demand for its new Agentforce product, and the company beat on a few quarterly metrics. So digital agents that complete tasks autonomously are seen by Benioff and other industry bigwigs as the future of work and a major profit center. So we have signed some incredible deals, Benioff said on Yahoo Finance, noting one recent 28 million deal he signed, including 9 million related to Agentforce usage. So that's a big development, especially in the AI sector, and we expect to see more performance from the stock. So outside of that, we have quite a number of key highlights. Of course, if you've been following the various events in Bitcoin, then you know that on July 28, 2024, Trump was addressing the Bitcoin conference in Nashville. During that time, he was still campaigning. Then on November 6, Trump won the presidential election. And after that, we have seen a very strong rally with price moving all the way to over $100,000 per BTC. So the key events that could impact markets today include the fallout from France's no confidence vote. We have talked about the Eurozone retail sales and, of course, the German industrial orders. So outside of that, of course, we need to dig deeper into the update on the French government collapsing. So technically, it's not the government that is collapsing. It's basically the formation of government in parliament, where they had to vote the prime minister out. So the French government has collapsed after Prime Minister Michel Barnier was ousted in a no confidence vote. So MPs voted overwhelmingly in support of the motion against him just 3 months after he was appointed by President Emmanuel Macron. So opposition parties had tabled the motion after the former Brexit negotiator controversially used special powers to force through his budget without a vote. It marks the first time in history or in the country's government that has collapsed in a no-confidence vote since 1962. So there will be more updates on this. We'll be following closely and, of course, watching the French stock market index, the France 40, to see how the markets will be reacting later today. So outside of that, I don't think we have any more updates. Of course, there is one more. So this one is from the UK, Shell and Equinor to create Britain's largest independent oil and gas company in joint venture. So oil major Shell and Norway's Equinor on Thursday announced plans to combine their British offshore oil and gas assets to create a jointly owned energy company. Of course, we'll be watching Shell shares to see how they perform today. So that being said, I believe now we can jump straight into some technical analysis and try to understand where the markets might be headed next. Good morning, Ken Moneki. Can see Gary Patrick in the house. Nyambugi Tombi, thank you for joining. So let's get into it. So this is the French stock market index, and as you can see, it has reacted positively to the news. So there is a big jump this morning. So from the 1 hour chart, this is how it looks like. So it's likely to be breaking this particular resistance area and potentially head even higher. So from the 4 hour chart, this is how it looks like. And from the daily, you can see we are just bouncing from a previous support area. So we could be seeing some further upside potential in the French 40 index. So right now it seems quite volatile, and the rally has just begun. So this is the reaction we are seeing in the market this morning, and there's a potential it could extend for the rest of the session. So outside of that, we have the main asset for the day, which is Bitcoin. And as you can see, from the analysis we did on Tuesday, we speculated that the market would potentially drop, get to this support area before bouncing and trading higher. It played out as expected. Yesterday continued the rally. So from the bottom here, you will notice that the market has basically extended higher by 11% before pulling back, and we are still up 9.6%. So from the 50 minutes chart, you can see that after the strong rally and breaking above $100,000, for the first time in the history of Bitcoin, we have seen a pullback, and now it's attempting to push even higher. So these might as well be the trade for the day. Then on the other charts, of course, we have the price of gold. Nothing much is happening in this chart. It's still a market that is reasonably trading inside a range. So I wouldn't say that we have any meaningful progress in gold performance this week. So it's more of a muted market that is literally just moving up and down. So if this is the overall price action, then we expect gold to remain within the same formation, and potential trade setups might appear if we happen to break either of these two particular trend lines. So potentially we could be seeing this happening tomorrow after the non-farm payrolls. But for today, it seems like the market is stuck in this formation here. So on the other hand, when you look at the oil prices, we had a nice bounce here on Tuesday. I remember when we were speculating on these, we expected a nice bounce from this lower trend line up to the upper one. So we had a breakout towards the upper side, but immediately the market pulled back right inside the sideways momentum or the range. So for now, it seems more likely that we could be seeing a break later this afternoon, especially if there's a major update from the OPEC meeting. So for now, it's a wait and see kind of a scenario with more focus on a potential breakout. So a potential breakout would be towards the lower side if the OPEC decides to expand oil output. If they don't do that, then the market could bounce from the lower trend line here and move back to the previous high. So as for US equity indices, clearly we have seen quite a strong bullish momentum. So clearly, it's a market that is forming new all-time highs, meaning that there are no candlesticks on the left. We are on course for a fifth day where the market is closing green. This is sixth, sorry. So you can see for the last 5 days, it has been just bullish momentum for the Nasdaq. And today, if you look at the 15 minutes chart, it's more of a market that is muted, meaning that it's not making much of a movement. And this is really good because whenever we see this, we patiently wait for the breakout and then we continue enjoying the rally. So for now, the market is moving sideways, but eventually we expect to see some form of break. And this is something that had happened earlier in the week. We all remember this momentum here. The market was just moving sideways. Eventually, it attempted to break towards the lower side, failed, and then progressed to move further upwards. It also happened on Monday, so similar thing. So we know it's a pattern now. So you see the market consolidating like this, and then eventually a break and a big move. So we will be watching and waiting to see if a similar move happens today. So for the Dow Jones Index, we are just on the course of breaking out of this range, getting into a new all-time high. So the key thing to watch is the momentum here. And it seems likely that we are going to have a breakout here, meaning that the market goes into a new all-time high from this price action level. So whenever you have such a good range, it basically means that the breakout is more likely to be bigger. So we expect a big push upwards. As the Trump bet continues, the Russell 2000 has been a little bit slow, though it has already tested the support area twice. So there's a good chance we accelerate higher. And of course, for the SP500, we had the same formation here. Market moving sideways, attempted to go down and then rallied all the way up yesterday. And today we are seeing a similar kind of formation where the market is now consolidating for a while, and we wait for the momentum to come in, most likely in the New York session. Then if there's a breakout upwards, we continue trading higher. So for currencies, there is quite a number of new developments. Of course, the dollar index failed to form a new high yesterday. So you can notice the way it got to this area and pulled back downwards. And now looking at a weak dollar, we are seeing some of these currencies progressing with our projections for Tuesday. So Tuesday, we expected the market to bounce all the way up. There was a pullback yesterday and the market rallied even higher. And now today we are looking at the potential extension of this rally. The target still the same at 1.05879 for the Euro USD. So pound USD, we speculated that the market would bounce and get to 1.27504. So we are still on course for that target. So for yen pairs, we expected the market to bounce from here and get to the previous high here, which we got into yesterday. And now the market is attempting to push again. Of course, with the potential being the market going for the next resistance area, which is around 192.357. So for USDN, this has been the slowest one. So after the strong rally yesterday, there was a pullback, and today it's really struggling. So for me personally, I would think that this market it now qualifies into a ranging market. So we don't have much happening around here. So it's more like this market has been moving sideways. So we remain patient and wait for the big momentum potentially after the non-farm payrolls tomorrow. So the Nikkei 225 index is an index we talked about since last week. Seeing that the market had bounced from this area, we expected a rally to this resistance area. And once it was broken on Tuesday, we expected a further push upwards. And now we are seeing the market moving on pretty well and going for a target of 40,129 yen per share. So from the 1 hour chart, you can see after the pullback, the market is now gaining momentum upwards. I expect this momentum to continue for the day. So outside of that, looking at other majors, we have the dollar trading against the Swiss franc. Of course, after the big momentum and finding resistance here, there was a pullback, and now with a weak dollar in the market, it's more likely that this market could be pushing further back downwards towards the 0.87977 level. Then we have the New Zealand USD pair, clearly a very strong bounce from this area here. And now we are seeing the market pushing. Of course, there is some form of resistance around 0.588. But then if we happen to break above that, then there's a good chance that we could be going for 0.59073. So we continue watching this level to see if there's a break above this area. So Audi New Zealand remains weak, and the market is currently testing a key level support area. So we should be watching this to see if there's a strong break. From the 1 hour chart, this is how it looks like. So this is the current level that we are watching. And of course, we know that for the week, the formation has been a bearish channel, and the market is currently testing the lower side of the channel. So a strong bounce here could potentially get towards the upper side of the trend line. So it might play off later in the day. So for silver, we had quite a strong rally yesterday, hitting $31.425 dollars per ounce. So now you can see that it's a major resistance, and the market is really struggling to break. So for now, we continue observing this area here to see if there's a break, and if the momentum persists towards the downside, then perhaps a pullback might play out to around the high that we had here. This is 30.89. So we could be seeing a potential pullback to this area here, but the better trade would be if the market happened to break this resistance, and then we could be seeing another progression upwards with key level targets around 32.362 area. So it hasn't happened yet, so we continue waiting and watching the chart until there's a confirmation that we are breaking that particular resistance area. So that's it for today. I'll be checking on the comment section to see if there's any questions, respond to the questions as we approach the end of the presentation. So we have a good question here. Hi, other than AI and tech, what else has much effect on the market today? Would gas be one of them? It's an interesting question. We could be seeing developments, especially in crude oil and gas, mainly from the OPEC meeting that is going on today. So if there is any major policy shifts, then we expect high or increased volatility in oil as well as gas prices. So that's a key focus to be watching today. Also, there's quite a good number of companies that have added Bitcoin to their stock, to their reserves, including companies such as MicroStrategy. And of course, we will be watching to see how they perform today, especially considering the strong rally in Bitcoin having broken above $100,000 for the first time. So there will be reactions on the stocks that are currently involved in Bitcoin, whether it's mining or holding a reserve. So another good question here. I'm wondering why the political turmoil in France is not having much negative impact on Euro or the France 40. So remember, it's just parliament things happening. So it's basically voting out the prime minister. Of course, another one will be appointed, and it's most likely that the market is betting that the next prime minister will be good for the markets. So hello, Wilbert, Mr. Kampala, hello, and thank you for joining. Jack, thoughts on JPY pairs. So we have already mentioned that for JPY pairs, we're expecting the yen to be losing. So overall, we are seeing a strong stock market and a weak yen. So the Nikkei 225 index continues going up, but the yen seems to be weakening. And the strong currencies to pair against the yen include the pound. The pound is the one that is making quite a strong bounce here. So we expect some further upside potential for the pound against the yen, while the dollar remains weak. So one last question here. Can we expect BTC to continue the bullish push, or should we expect some sort of a correction? More so, how would you expect the New York Open to process this milestone in BTC? So there was a very strong sell wall around 100K, and buyers managed to wipe out the sell wall, basically meaning that the shorts that were at around 100K are being liquidated, which basically means that we are potentially looking at a short squeeze that would push Bitcoin price higher. So in this case, there's a good likelihood that Bitcoin continues extending the rally today. So from the 1 hour chart, you can see the strong push here. So right from this bottom yesterday and today's high. So whenever you see such a big move of almost $10,000, basically means that sellers are panicking, getting wiped out. And this literally means that we continue enjoying the push. So the last time we had this, it happened somewhere around here. Notice a similar candlestick here. And then after that, the market extended higher. So right now, it's more likely that the market will be pushing higher, especially considering that this was a consolidation zone and the market was literally trading in a triangle. So after that, notice how there was a big breakout here, and the breakout is expected to be another leg towards the bullish momentum. So potentially, if you use your technicals well, then you know that the size of this triangle might be similar to what we see as the breakout here. So we could be seeing an extension to around this is 106K. So we could be seeing something around 106K from the current momentum. Most promising pair to trade today, I would say Bitcoin. Bitcoin has the most potential of making some good upside. So also, as we have seen in other pairs consolidating, potential breakout in the Nasdaq would form a very nice trade towards the upside, but you have to wait until we have a confirmed breakout. But without that, we continue chilling. Now that the DXY is bearish, in the upcoming news today on unemployment claims, could DXY continue being bearish, or could we expect a different sentiment? Of course, it's news, especially impacting the labor market. So there's a good chance that this will be a key determiner of the dollar direction at the New York Open. So for now, the dollar remains weak, but once we get the unemployment claims, as well as the trade balance data, we could be seeing a change in sentiment. Of course, if the job market is worsening, that could be a concern and could strengthen the dollar. But then if it's improving, then it's likely there will be a likelihood that the dollar continues weakening as we approach the potential rate cut on the 18th of DEC. So that's it for the day. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for your time. Remember that we have an event coming up tomorrow in Mombasa. Also, check out the newest episode of the Bullish Banter podcast. It's available on all podcast platforms as well as the FXPesa YouTube channel. And on top of that, if you're just beginning your trading journey, check out the Novice to Pro series. It's a free course available on FXPesa YouTube to help you transition from a complete beginner to a pro level trader. And if you'd like to begin your trading journey, make sure to check out the links in the description below to register for a trading account. If you're watching this on X, make sure to visit the FXPesa handle for the link to register and begin your trading journey. So thank you very much, everyone, and enjoy your day.